Hey, YA, I have Romans 9 today. And in Romans 9, we see Paul, at the beginning of this kind of being sad and, and having grief over how his people, the Jewish people, many of them are not believing that Jesus is the Messiah that he's sharing about. Paul also talks about, he kind of goes over the history of why they should and about how the, prophets were prophesying that he would be the Messiah. And also not just prophesying that he'd be the Messiah, but also prophesying that, again, like we've seen in Romans, that the Gentiles would also be, grafted into this as well. And all of this, in this chapter is really him there's a lot that we could take from this, but one of the overarching themes is that it is faith in Jesus, not in our works, not in our, religious efforts or traditions. That is what saves us, but believing in Jesus is what saves us. And so that's kind of like I said, the overarching theme of what's going on here. And, one of the things he quotes from Isaiah was towards the end of chapter 9, where he is saying that, they have stumbled over the stumbling stone. He was talking about the Jewish people. And it said, as is written, which is in Isaiah, behold, I am laying in Zion a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense, and whoever believes in him will not be put to shame. And so that rock, that stumbling stone, is Jesus. It's prophesying about who Jesus is. And we still see that to this day, whether it's, with Jewish people who don't believe that Jesus is the Messiah, but even Gentiles, those of us that, we've shared about who Jesus is, he is a huge stumbling block because, we have to have faith in him to be right with God, to go to heaven. And that is a huge stumbling block for a lot of people. So that's kind of what Paul, again, is talking about here. And one of the things that I wanted to just encourage all of us in is, it's, again, this theme of, it's not by our works, but it's our faith in him. And that, a lot of times we can do a lot of religious practices that are kind of outward things that, make us feel holy, but really, our faith in him and our heart and our hearts changing is what makes us holy. And, some people say, it is all by faith, right? Not by our works. But are works important? Yes, they're very important in terms of works of, talking about like the fruits of the Spirit, right? We need to walk in the fruits of the Spirit, which is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control. So when we accept Christ into our life, there is a change that should happen in our heart. And our actions afterwards, our words, our actions, the things that we do, should be good fruit that we produce. Those things, what we do doesn't save us, but the effects of a changed heart and a changed life is that fruit that's being produced. So I just want to encourage each one of us that, as we're in our prayer time every day, spending time with the Lord, is that we just really are aware of where our heart posture is at, and just knowing that we are saved by faith, not through our works, but with the Holy Spirit's help, we can walk out in works. We can walk out just our Christian faith, and people can see that we are different because of the changed heart that we have. So I hope you guys are blessed and that you have a great day, and we will see you next week.